An old roommate of mine posted on a LinkedIn, a social media, he made a post and he said, I used to think there are so many things that bother me, but really there's only one thing. And then he went on to post 4 pictures. One was of a car that goes outside of the lines, takes up 2 spaces. Another one was a picture of a shopping cart left in the parking lot. Another one, the third one, was people having a conversation in the doorway, blocking the doorway. And the fourth one was a guy on his cell phone, and he was listening to some type of video on speaker in public. And from those 4 things, he said, I realized that there's only one thing that really bothers me, my one pet peeve. It's called common courtesy. And I saw that and I said, wow, that's exactly how I feel. I hate when people do those things. And I started getting really worked up. And then I said to myself, wait a second, hold on. This is not a healthy feeling. This is not a healthy way to think, because I come in contact with a lot of people and sometimes I'm asked to help them work through some issues. And there's many different problems, many different things that people are going through. But one of the main bottom line factors, so to speak, is a concept called Ani Amlokh. It means that, like, I'm the master, I'm the king. I think that I know what I need, I know how to get it, and I know what's best for me, and that's it. Just leave me alone. That's what I want. And it doesn't always work out that way. And once we start living in a way that thinking like this is the way it should be, people should behave like this is what I know that I need, and this is what I want. And the more and more we think like that, the more and more we set ourselves up for disappointment. And we have to learn to put HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the picture. What's the best way to an example that I can give you to compare it to? It's like having a car. When you get in your car, you don't sit there and rub the dashboard and say, oh, please, come on, just get me where I need to go today. We don't sit there and ask the car and pray for the car to get us somewhere, because we get in the car and that's what cars do. They just take us where we need to be. We don't think about it. But what would happen if you had someplace to go and you knew that you told somebody, I'll be there in 20 minutes, just wait for me. And you get in your car and all of a sudden it doesn't start. There's 2 reactions over here. One is that you can say to yourself, oh, these stupid cars, I can't stand cars. I'm getting rid of this car. I don't want to drive cars anymore. And you can get really upset and worked up. The other reaction would be, you know something? I didn't appreciate how much a car does for me and how lucky I am to have a car. I probably neglected it so much. I wasn't taking proper care of it. I didn't check things that needed to be checked. And now I appreciate having a car, and I'm going to think about this car much more often and take care of it. Well, it's the same thing with the Kadosh Baruch Hu and life. You see, we go through life and we just go through life. We wake up, we have our routine, and we know that we're in business, we're going to make some money, we're going to close some deals, and we're going to travel, and we're going to go and eat and do all these things that we like to do. And it's going to happen. Why shouldn't it work out? But then when there's that one thing that doesn't work out, what do? Do we complain? Do we say to ourselves, oh, why is this happening to me? Or do we say, you know what? I realize that everything, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that decides whether there's going to be success or no success, or what's going to happen in my life. He's pulling the strings. And now you realize that, I didn't appreciate how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu is really doing for me. He's giving me so much chesed and kindness that he's letting me do all these things that I want to do. It's really from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you know what? Now that I see that things don't always work out, I'm going to think about Hashem a little bit more. I'm going to put him into my life. I'm going to put him on the radar and realize that everything I have, everything I do, every action that I take is from Hashem. He's letting it happen. He's the one that controls all the results. And we see this in this week's Parsha. Our Parsha talks about all the clothing, the special garments that the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, wears. And one of those garments is a robe, the Me'il. And on the bottom of this robe, there was surrounding, all around the bottom, little pomegranates and bells. And as the Kohen was walking around doing his service, you would hear this little jingling. You would know exactly where he was and what he was doing inside the Beis Hamikdash, inside the temple. Well, our sages tell us that the reason for this was because when the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, went into the Kodesh Kadoshim, the Holy of Holies, the one place that only the high priest was allowed to go, and he would go in there on Yom Kippur, it was if he was coming in and he was announcing himself with this noise of the bells ringing. In other words, he wasn't going to just jump in and surprise a Kodesh Baruch Hu and coming in unannounced. He was saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, here I am, I'm coming in. HaKadosh Baruch Hu would hear the bells and he would expect the Kohen to come in. Now it's very allegorical. I mean, the whole thing doesn't really make sense. I mean, surprising HaKadosh Baruch Hu and needing to be announced. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with all the holiness, on this special day of Yom Kippur, where forgiveness is being given to the entire nation, the highest, the most holiest day of the year, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, wait a second, common courtesy. But there's another place in the Torah which says, don't take this too far. Still, you need to put a HaKadosh Baruch Hu into your life and realize that He's in control. It says that in the beginning of the Parsha, when Moshe was commanded to anoint Aaron, his brother, and his Aaron's sons as the Kohen and the Kohen Gadol, it says that Moshe, the Medrash tells us that Moshe was a little bit upset. He wanted to be the Kohen Gadol, not because he wanted the kavod. He was the humblest person that ever lived, but he wanted to do the service. He wanted to have extra mitzvahs to be able to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what he lived for. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, listen, Moshe, I gave you the Torah to give to the Jewish people. That was your job. You're Moshe Rabbeinu. You're the one that gave the Torah. Let Aaron and his sons, let them be the one that serve the nation, that do the avoda, the service inside the temple. So we have two sides of the coin. One, that there is common courtesy. We should behave in a certain way. We should be thinking about helping people and doing chesed and making sure that our actions aren't hurting someone else. But on the other hand, we can't become too critical. We can't become too demanding and say that thinking that we know how people should act and we know how things should be and we know what's best for us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu still runs the show. He's in our life, and we have to have gratitude, realizing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing what's best for us. And there's reason and there's meaning behind it. Whatever the challenge is, whatever the test, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, we have to also realize to have gratitude that things don't always go the way we think they should be. It goes the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu thinks the way it should be, because He's involved in our life. Have a great Shabbos.